Okay, so anytime I talk about this subject, I am going to get some people who disagree with me, and basically it's because they are either doing it right now or they've done it for a long time and they think there's nothing wrong with it. But my opinion, when you're working on the side, when you're doing side jobs, when you're moonlighting, I mean, I'm totally against that. And you're either in or you're out. And the biggest argument people have is, well, you know, I'm working full time and I'm trying to start a business, so I went ahead and I'm doing it at night, and this is how I'm going to get started, and basically it's the worst way to get started. It's the worst way to get started because you're not 100% dedicated to starting a business. You're working full time somewhere else, and most of the time it's in the same trade. And we're going to go over reasons why that's wrong. But most of the time it's in the same trade. You're trying to give your employer, dedication, and you're trying to give them the best job, hopefully, the best job you can give them. But then you're also moonlighting and you're doing stuff at night, and it's just not healthy. There is no middle. You're either in or you're out. There's no middle. There's no middle ground here. You're either 100% dedicated to starting a business or you're not, and just stay at your employer, learn more, grow, make more money, have less headaches. But there's no middle ground here for me at all. And for a lot of guys, there's no middle ground, especially a lot of employers, a lot of business owners. I mean, if you're not telling your team that you do not allow moonlighting, shame on you. So we actually had a couple people we thought were moonlighting. I hired an investigator. They investigated. They recorded them saying that they'll arrive at their home at a certain time, all this stuff. I fired both of them. There is no room here. There's no middle ground. You're either 100% dedicated to me, the company, or go start your own company. Go out and do it. If it was that easy, you wouldn't be working two jobs trying to do it. If it was that simple, most companies that start by a side hustle fail within the first couple years because they relied more on their company paycheck than they did going out and hustling on their own and making things happen. They relied more on their employer for insurance and all that kind of stuff. So when they actually did leave, they had no idea what they were doing because they couldn't afford it, and they were used to their employer providing everything, tools, whatever. But anyway, I fired both because I won't deal with it. One of them eventually did start his own company. He's no longer, the first one was gone in 3 months. The next one actually lasted a couple years because he did so much side hustle. For me, it took me a while to catch it. And the company before me, that he had built a nice little customer base, but eventually he crashed and burned. He couldn't afford it. He wasn't making any money, and he couldn't afford. Nobody can afford, when they're doing that, very, very few people can afford to hire other guys, and they crash and burn. So this is called the side hustle, good or bad. Hey, this is Greg McAfee, and welcome to the Greg McAfee Show. Now let's get started. Okay, welcome back to the Greg McAfee Show, where we discuss steps to successful entrepreneurship, how to take your business to new heights, and ultimately follow your dreams. The side hustle, good or bad? I say bad. We're going to talk about it. So here's some potential reasons why doing side work in the trades, we're going to talk about this, but you've got the top trades. You've got HVAC, you've got plumbing, you've got electric. And you can go as far to say tool and die, machine shop, that's a trade. You've got landscape, lawn care. That's a trade. You've got roofing, remodeling. That's a trade. You've got handyman. That's a trade. And there's multiple more that I'm sure I'm missing. So if you're in another one, I apologize. But here are some potential reasons why doing side work in the trades may be considered wrong. I have no right. I'm not going to sit here and debate this myself. You can debate it all you want, but I'm going to tell you why it's wrong, okay? And then you can determine whether it's good or bad. So please note, though, there are some reasons that may vary depending on where you're located, your circumstances, your employee agreements, and the local laws and licensing, okay? So there may be some variance here in those areas. But the first one I have is conflict of interest. If you're working for a plumbing company and you're doing side work in the plumbing business, then it's a conflict of interest. Side work may create conflicts with primary employment obligations. How can you work full-time and take care of customers within the trade if you are in the same trade competing with the company that puts the bread and butter, the insurance, the liability, and everything else on the table? Tell me how. Send me an email, greg@mcair.com. I want to know. And number two, liability concerns. Personal projects may expose individuals to unforeseen liabilities. Like I said, the top three: HVAC, plumbing, and electrical trades. Working with homeowners. That's who we work with. That's who I'm talking about right here. Working with homeowners. The guys that are doing these side hustles and at night and working for a company during the day, rarely do they carry enough insurance. Rarely do they carry any insurance. Let me tell you what happens. So you've got, exposure to gas. A furnace is like worth, I don't know, they say it's equivalent to 7 or 8 sticks of dynamite, a gas furnace. If installed improperly, if you have gas leaks, it'll blow up an entire house. It's done it several times. It's done it here locally. It's happened here locally, rather. So you've got gas, you got water. Man, you don't get it right in plumbing. You flood a house, someone has their system worked on, water heater or piping worked on, and they decide to go on vacation for a week, and that house floods. That's major. And then you've got electric. Electric with the voltage and the amp draw and all those types of things. If it's not done right, if it's not wired properly, if it's not, the wire nuts aren't wired tightly enough, all those types of things causes sparks, causes problems, all those type of things. Liability galore. Very few side hustle guys carry any insurance. Guess who's liable? We're going to talk about that. And number 3, you've got unauthorized use of company resources. So using company materials, using company tools, using company resources, period. On the side work. For those who are in the same trade as what you're doing on the side, shame on you. You want to be in plumbing and go mow yards at night? You go. There's no conflict of interest at all. It's just a second job. That's all it is. You go. As long as it doesn't affect your first job, as long as you're not staying out till 1 and 2 a.m. mowing yards, trimming, whatever you do there, as long as it's not affecting your main job, you go. I don't have a problem with that. I have a problem with you doing side jobs while you're working for the same trade. That's a major problem. I've already said it. It's a major problem for me. And then you've got safety and insurance risks. Inadequate insurance, like we talked about. Most guys running side gigs do not have insurance. If they have any, it's not enough. If you're doing a job on the side and you cause major damage, the homeowner can sue you and the main company you work for. You say, no, they can't. Yes, they can. You are working for that other company and doing side jobs. They will attempt to sue the other company. It's been done and it's been won. W-O-N. Why? Because who has the deepest pockets? The company you work for. You know, we had an employee once innocently, because he'd been with me a while, and it's not something he did, but it was an older, elderly customer who asked him if he could install a fan replace a fan in her dining room. And that was there. And my employee said, yes, he could do it. He even clocked out. He clocked out while he did it. Didn't tell me he was doing it, but he clocked out while he was doing it. And it worked for 2 or 3 days, and it didn't work. Do you think the customer was calling him about the fan not working? No. She called us. She called the company he works for. I knew nothing about it at the time. This has been years ago. I'm trying to figure out what's going on. We got a recall on something we didn't do. So when I asked him, he said, yeah, he said, I put a fan in for her. Well, the fan didn't work. We got blamed. I made the employee go out and buy another fan and replace it. I mean, it just causes a mess. Just think if it was worse than that. Just think what would happen. So the customer will attempt to sue the company you work for. Deepest pockets wins today. That's just the way it is. And then you've got unfair competition, competing directly with employers or colleagues. It's kind of like the story about the atheist that he was a scientist and he said, I don't need God, I can make my own earth. So he leaves the place of business he worked at with a big box, and it had dirt in it. And the other scientists who weren't atheists, they said, oh no, you can't take this dirt. You get your own, you make your own dirt. If you're that good, you make your own dirt. So, needless to say, he couldn't do it. So he took his box of dirt, started to walk out the door. The other scientist called him out on it. Leave your dirt here and make your own. You know, so competing directly with the employer, it's not right. Get your own customers. Get your own work. Start your own business. Have your own liability. Get your own insurance. Put up your own capital for your own truck. Put up your own capital for your own tools. The reason you're doing side jobs is because you can't do that. You can't put up your own money. You don't have the money. That's why you're working side jobs. And please don't tell me you're doing it to start a business one day. That rarely happens. And like I said, when it does, they crash and burn. I'm passionate about this because it's not right. And if you think it's right, I don't know. I'm challenging you on that. It's not right. You want to start your own business, do it the right way. Go out and start your own business. And then you've got time and energy diversion. Side work may impact primary job performance. Like I said, staying up too late, whatever. What if you get hurt on the job you're side jobbing? Think about that. What if you get hurt? What if you get hurt to where you can't work? Is that fair to your employer? No. It's huge. You're stealing time and energy from your main employer, who again puts bread and butter on your table. If you could get your own job and make your own bread and butter, then you go. That's what America's all about. But it's not about side jobbing and side hustles. All right. Then you have professional reputation risks. Substandard side work may cause harm professionally to your reputation and to the company that you work full time for. People will hold that against them. They will not do business with them or tell anyone good about them because your side hustle was a hack. Not good. Not good at all. And it affects you. It affects the company. Not fair to them. They didn't do anything to cause it except keep you too long, basically. I'm sorry, but that's the truth. What about taxes? Failure to report income or comply with regulations. You know, if you want to run a professionally managed business, then do so. And I'll be the first one to say I despise paying taxes. I despise paying taxes. We pay too much taxes. But guess what? That's the way it is. You want to be in business. I don't care if someone walks in here and buys a $20 filter or a $20,000 furnace and air system. We pay taxes on the profits. That's just the way it is. And always have, always will. We've been blessed because of it. I just take the high road. Not that I like it. I don't like it, but I do it. Pay taxes on everything. Any dollar income comes in here, we're paying taxes on it. And then we have, lastly, breach of contract, violating employment contracts. And for the most part, if you work for a professionally managed company, you will have a contract and you will violate it if you're moonlighting, if you're side hustling. So that's not fair. Not fair to the company, and you're not doing yourself any good either. You're not taking the risk. You think you're wanting to be an entrepreneur, but you're not taking the risk to be one. And everybody out there listening right now who has taken that risk, they know what it's like to take that risk and to do whatever it takes to put bread and butter on their own table without relying on anyone else except God and his blessings to be able to do so. And that's it. So I take this stuff serious. You got the side hustle. Is it good or bad? My opinion, it's bad. There's nothing good about it. Most of the people I talk to that get this, and I've been coaching for quite a while. Most of the people I talk to, once I find out they're just side hustling, if I don't catch that at the get-go, we part friends. I give them their money back because I can't coach them. It's not a real business. It's not solid. Most of the people I talk to that are side hustling, using the excuse, I'm saving money to start a business, when I ask them, how much money have you saved? And they've been doing it for 2 years, and they've got less than $1,000 in the bank. They're not side hustling. They're stealing from their employer. That's what they're doing. They're stealing work from their employer that they could be promoting their employer and giving them the work and helping grow the company. So it's not fair all the way around. So you've got conflict of interest. You've got liability concerns. You've got unauthorized use of company resources. You've got safety and insurance risks. You've got unfair competition. And you've got time and energy diversion. You've got professional reputation risks. What about taxes? And then you've got breach of contract. So nothing good about the side hustle. If you're doing it, rethink it. If you're doing it, take a leap of faith and start your own business. Quit relying on someone else. Quit stealing from someone else. Quit doing these things to someone else, because that's what's happening, okay? It's not good. I don't promote it. I hate it. I fire people who do it. That's me. Hopefully you're the same way. I didn't even mention licensing. I mean, you're so far, if you're moonlighting and side hustling, you're so far from getting a license, it's unreal. Why would you? If you're going to side hustle and steal work from your own employer, why would you take the time and spend the money and study to get a license? And in some places, it requires more than one license. It's just not right, and I will end there. Have a great day, right? Okay, So before we wrap up, if you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe below. You can also support this podcast by rating and reviewing on iTunes or your preferred listening channel. Keep listening. I'll keep challenging you. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Facebook at The Greg McAfee Show. No spaces, no underscores. Be sure to keep listening. I'll do my best to keep challenging you. Thanks for listening. As always, carry on. God bless. Make it a great day because we're not promised tomorrow. See you later.